What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mud. Hope you're all having a good Memorial Day weekend. It's just about over for me. It's Monday night. Should be going to sleep soon so I can wake up nice and fresh for work tomorrow, but I want to film this tutorial, so let's do this. It's a Chaos Warrior of Tzeentch, and as you can tell, he's very artistic looking, so I'm going to show you how I paint this up. Very easy to do, and it just requires a little bit of imagination and a little bit of a steady hand, as with all painting. So we are going to use our Imperial primer model. If you've watched my product review for that, this is the model that we're going to use, and we're going to start with the cloak. I'm going to paint that Mephiston red, or Mephiston, or Mephiston, what? And we're just gonna paint this back here. Try to get only the cloak and not the trim, the fur trim. Here we go on the underside back here. Alright, and we are going to let this dry, wash off our brush, and move on to the next step, which is going to be, surprisingly enough, the top part, the fur trim, we are going to paint in Celestra Gray. So, Chaos Warriors with the Mark of Tzeentch, you could play them as Chosen, and there are some great tactics out there using Chosen Chaos Warriors with the Mark of Tzeentch as kind of like your, they call it a Chosen Star. It's kind of like a Death Star, but with the ward save you get from your hand weapon and shield, the Mark of Tzeentch will raise your ward save, which essentially means that your guys have a ward save in combat of 5 or 6. Give them some support with some magic, or good deployment, good strategies for moving, capitalizing where you are on the battlefield, and these guys are going to be very hard to shift. Gonna let that dry for a minute, and we're going to go on to the leather, like the boots, the gloves, and the belt. For that, we're gonna use dryad bark. You have a Chaos War Shrine nearby. These guys can be pretty tough to shift. Can do a lot of good for you. And by good, of course, I mean evil. I remember when I was looking through the Warriors of Chaos book trying to find a color scheme that I could use for my Tzeentch tutorial. I saw this one and it was just, I had to do it. I saw some other Tzeentch tutorials online that use just like metal and like bolt gun metal, the entire armor, and then use the blue glaze, and it looks okay, and you can do it, and it'll, you know, be really fast, but this, I think, is really gonna look good when you have a whole mob of them. Alright, speaking of metal, we're gonna use chainmail now for the chainmail. What do you know? Some of these belts are so long, they have their edges kind of, their excess kind of hangs off, so make sure you got that as well. Right, next, gold. We're going to use Balthazar gold, which is our base color for all of our gold, and this is going on all the gold bits. So, spikes on the shoulders. Chaos Star on the shield. Also gonna hit this ring on the shield. And details, so like, see this little skull back here? Hit that up with gold. Skull up here, hit that up with gold. I'm just kind of randomly choosing things here and there to use as a gold accent color. The belt itself, yes, the belt itself. The buckle. Nicely done. Also, in this model, we're going to use gold as color for all the rivets. So there are rivets on your armor. If you can find them, hit them up with this gold. So on the knees, on this shin armor, that's really about it. The hilt for the weapon. Okay, and that's just about it. I'm gonna paint dryad bark on this guy's necklace too. Some of them are wearing ornamentation around their necks. Oh, we forgot one more thing. Gotta paint the gold on the collar of the armor. Awesome. Okay, next we're going to paint the hand wrap of the sword, or if you've got like a hammer, the leather that wraps around it. We're going to paint it in dark flesh, or whatever the new dark flesh color is. I like it because it's a very brownish color of red. It's not bright like Mephiston red. Okay, do we have anything else we want to paint? Not really. The horns, Rakarth flesh. Most of your guys are gonna have horns, so Rakarth flesh is the color we paint. You'll never replace my Deneb Stone Rakarth flesh. But you'll do. Do a little bit more here, and we'll leave it to dry. Oh my gosh, Max Payne 3 is so awesome. And just going for trophies now. Man, staying up all night this whole weekend. Alright, looks like the back of the cape can use second coat of Mephiston Red, so that's what I'm going to do. As soon as this is painted, we can get on to the washes. Oh, I'm sorry, shades. Right, so we'll be back when this is dry, and then we'll start with the shades, and then we'll go into the arcane freehand. Alright, so now we're going to get started on the washes. And before we do, we're just going to paint the little talisman he's got on his neck, Celestra Gray. Some of the models have these, some of them don't. They look like little stones with runes on them. So we'll take them to be little magical talismans provided by Lord Tzeentch himself. Aha! Alright. So now we're going to paint on some Agrax Earthshade onto the cloak, as well as the fur trim. And the reason for this, and not Carroburg Crimson, is because I thought that Carroburg Crimson would just make it look more red, and I'm not really interested in it looking red so much as just dark. Red would be more Cornish, so we're just trying to deepen and darken the color. And let's not do the trim with this, actually. We're going to do the trim with Rakelin Flesh Shade. What? That's right. Why Rakelin Flesh Shade? Because it's a nice reddish brown color. The Agrax Earthshade would be a little too dark. I think I had planned on doing that when I was doing my test model, and then I decided to try this one, and it ended up being a lot better, and maybe I just forgot it when I was looking at my little cheat sheet here next to me. Forgot to change Agrax Earthshade back to Rakelin Flesh Shade. It's got this nice reddish brown kind of quality to it. You want to make sure you get the shade into everywhere evenly. Okay, then we're going to do some Seraphim Sepia on the horns. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start painting up some highlights on the boots. First we're going to start with XV88. Those towels. we're gonna actually paint all of the, we're gonna highlight all of the dark brown leather, not just the boots. So like the gloves, the belt, all of that is going to get this highlight. Okay, and then while that's drying, we're going to go on to our second highlight, which is Baneblade Brown. Baneblade Brown, very reminiscent of Graveyard Earth. Coloring over our old XV88. Alright. Now we're gonna get started with the arcane writing. Yeah. Let me actually just see what it looks like if we put a little bit of that Agrax Earth Shade. I think this works. So do Rakeland Flesh Shade first, and then do a paint over that with Agrax Earth Shade. Yeah, there we go. Agrax Earth Shade by itself would just be too dark, and you would just put too much in order to make it look like any shade was on. But then Rakeland Flesh Shade all by itself is too light. So combining the two of them gives you the shading that you need with Agrax Earth Shade with the tone, the color tone that you want from the Rakeland Flesh Shade. Yay! Mystery solved. So you know what we're gonna do? It looks like we've actually gone about as far as we should go tonight. So we'll save part 2 for the next video, highlighting and the arcane writing. But what we will do is we'll do some Temple Guard blue, and actually it's not. Get that ready because that's going to be your highlight color. But before we go tonight, that's not what I want. I actually want some Wild Rider red. You're going to take your Wild Rider red, and you're going to give your Tzeentch Warrior of Chaos some glowy eyeballs. So just take your tip of your brush and paint into the visor. So you get something like that. Okay, and then I'm also gonna take some black and just clean up a little bit maybe. But we'll leave it there for tonight. We gave our guys some glowy eyeballs, we did the base coats, and when we come back, the washes will all be dried. We'll get onto highlighting, and then we'll do the arcane writing. And then when we finish, we should have a Chaos Warrior that looks approximately close to this one. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a great night, and we will see you in part 2 of how to paint a Warrior of Chaos Mark of Tzeentch.